Hi everybody, we'll get started in a couple minutes. If you can hear me, can you please just pop a comment into the chat box and make sure that you can also see me in the right direction? Can someone tell me if I'm horizontal or sideways? Or if you can't hear me and you're just reading my lips, maybe you can tell me that too. I'd also love to hear where you're watching from today. So go ahead and just find that little chat box if you're watching on YouTube. I guess if you're watching on the Yoga Download site, you probably can't comment. I'm not sure. So we will get started in a couple minutes. In the meantime, I'd love to hear where you're watching from. And also, if somebody could do me a big favor and just let me know that you can see me and hear me okay, that would be awesome. Hey, Andrea from Austin. Andrea, does everything look and sound okay on this end? And were you here last week? I've been stuck at home by myself a lot, so this is my only opportunity to try to chat with y'all. Sort of a one-way conversation. Yes and yes, awesome. Thank you, Andrea. Thanks for coming back this week. All right. Michigan. Thanks, Deborah. My mom grew up in Michigan and I used to spend my summers there. I miss it. Sounds nice. It's so hot here in Denver. Luckily, the postman has come, so you probably won't hear Pippa freak out, although she is on high alert. Pips, do you want to say hi to everybody first? Yeah, come here. This is Pippa. Carlsbad. Hi, Mindy. Thanks for chiming in. So Pippa was teaching me some yoga this morning. We're going to do some of her signature moves. And for now, hopefully she'll just take a nap on the couch. So I'll wait just another minute or so, see who else can join us. In the meantime, I just want to give you an announcement that if you have a Roku TV, you can now watch Yoga Download channel on your Roku as of today. I just tried it this morning. It was super fun on my little screen there. So some of you may know me from Yoga Download. I have about 70 some classes on there, and there's plenty of other amazing teachers on there too. If you're not a Yoga Download member and would like to try it for a month, you can use the code Elise F to get 50% off. That could also be a really nice gift to give somebody too. Unfortunately, at least here in Denver, it does not look like we're going to be getting back into yoga studios and gyms very soon. So extra appreciative of online yoga, and especially of Yoga Download making this a free class every week since March, maybe the beginning of April, and I'm so honored to be here. So I think it's that time. I'll scoot back to my mat. Today you may want a blanket. If you have a block, go ahead and grab that too. Drink of water, put on some gentle music, and I'll meet you on the mat in just a minute. Okay, so hopefully we're here together and separate through the power of the internet on our mats together. So today I've been feeling just surprisingly tired. I don't know why. So today's class we're going to start slow and easy, just the way I always like to. Probably pick up the pace, maybe 2/3 into class, and then end slow and easy as well. It's that kind of late July hot afternoon class. So let's start either in child's pose or on your back, feet together, knees wide. This is Supta Baddha Konasana. or you can join me in a child's pose. So you have a choice there, but wherever you are, let this be a place to just soften. Close down your eyes. Come into your breath. Allow the ground to hold you. This could be a nice time to take a little body scan and notice where you're holding or gripping in your body. And consciously give your body permission to let go and release. There's no need to do anything except breathe. Breathe down deep into your pelvis, into your low belly. And then exhale completely, letting go of all the air. Feel yourself sink a little further with gravity towards the earth. And just spend about 3 more deep, long, luscious breaths in child's pose or Utkatasana on your back, your choice. Wherever you are, you take this time to turn inwards, come home to yourself, to collect the breath, and to set an intention for your yoga practice. When that intention is in mind, you can slowly start to release out of this pose and meet me in a simple cross-legged on your mat. So we'll start with a little hip stretch here. Let's bring left shin in front of the right, or if your hips are a little more flexible than mine, you could also bring that shin on top of the right for fire log pose. So left shin in front of the right for cross-legged, or left shin all the way on top of the right for fire log. And then whether or not the shins are crossed or on top of each other, we want to cinch up the knees, make a little smaller space between the legs. And then we'll start to fold forward. Keep your sit bones rooted back and down. Let your head go. Soften belly and shoulders and arms. Allow your knees to get heavy. Keeping a slight flex through the feet, press the pinky side of the foot down either into the other leg or into the ground. One more breath like this, really anchoring through your lower booty, your butt, and then inhale, slowly come up. And now we'll take that same forward fold over to the left side. So left shin is in front or left shin is on top, which means we're going to anchor back through the right hip, make it really heavy, and then just side bend over the left knee. Now you could reach a little bit further through the right arm, keeping that right elbow and armpit soft and heavy towards the earth, reaching through those fingers as you plug the right hip back and down. One more breath into the right side body. And then come up slowly. All right, let's switch right shin in front or on top, depending which variation you're taking. Super glue your butt to the ground and fold forward, exhaling as you come down. And then as you come into this forward fold, it really doesn't matter how far you go. What I'd like you to do is pay attention to your breath. With the inhalations, as you guide the breath down into the pelvic bowl, you'll feel a natural lift, a lighten of the torso. And with the exhalations, you can really just let go, give up your body weight. I hope this feels good for you guys to start slowly today. And again, we will be picking up the pace and working the muscles a little bit. So now let's come up and take that side bend over to the right. This time, really plugging the left hip back and down, nice and heavy, and reaching a little bit further through that left arm. Feel into the stretch of the left side body from the hip, through the ribs, through the armpit, maybe even through the arm itself. Send some breath there. And then release and come up. Now we'll come into all fours for a little while. So if you have sensitive knees, you may want to place your blanket underneath them. And then we'll start with a few rounds of cat and cow to move the energy through the spinal column. With the inhalation, let your tailbone tilt up, your belly drop, and your heart lift. With the exhalation, tuck the tail, pull the navel to the spine, and draw chin to chest. And then continue this undulating movement, almost like a wave through the spine. Linking your movement to your breath, it becomes like a dance. And then you can add any other little dance steps you'd like to into this. Sometimes it can feel good to take it a little side to side or make some circles with head and neck. I like to bend through my elbows sometimes or take the hips back. Pay attention to your body. Listen to what it's calling for. Let's take another breath or two here in this moving cat and cow. And then with your next exhalation, come back into tabletop so that the spine is long. Reach your right arm forward and your left leg back. So now you're balancing on right knee and left hand and making a long straight line from right hand and left foot. Take another deep breath in, pull your belly to your spine. With the exhalation, crunch, rounding your back. See if you can guide your elbow and knee towards each other. They might not actually touch. Inhale, stretch it out and back again. You're really working those stabilizer muscles of the core. And with the exhalation, bring it all back in. Rounding your back, pull the navel to the spine. One more time out. And then release the hand and the knee to the earth. Find your breath if you've lost it. I did there for a moment. And then we'll stretch left arm and right leg back. Really reach in the opposite directions like someone's pulling you, then pull the belly up and in, corset the belly. Now with your next exhalation, it all comes together. Pull your navel up and in around your back body. Inhale, stretch out with control. Exhale one more time, crunch it all up and in. And inhale, stretch out. And release. All right, coming down onto your belly now. Let's do a back body strengthener called Locust Chaturmasana. For this variation, interlace your hands behind your back. Press your palms together as best you can and roll the shoulders up off the ground. Now, I want you to really engage all of your back body muscles. So from the back of your neck to the back of your feet, squeeze. And then start to lift up the legs. Nice straight legs, no bend in the knees. Squeeze your booty. Squeeze your spinal column muscles. Squeeze the muscles, the rhomboids between the shoulder blades. Lift up your hands from your hips if you can. And then lift everything up. 3 more breaths right here. This is a really wonderful counter pose to chair sitting, which I've been doing so much of now that I'm a student. So we're really engaging that back body that tends to get too long as we sit in chairs. Right, let it go. Come down. Tuck your toes, bring the hands to the earth. Press your hips back and then straighten the legs for downward facing dog. First one of the session. In your down dog. Anchor the space between your first finger and thumb. And then press your forearms together like they're squeezing a big block between them. From the press of the forearms, roll your shoulders wide away from each other. Bring your ears right between your biceps. And then lengthen from your armpits to your hips. Spread your sit bones wide. Pull the belly in to support the slight curve of the lower back. Now, as you reach the heels to the ground, keep your hips really high. Pull your kneecaps up. It's a very vibrant, active pose. And then we'll walk the feet forward towards the hands. Take them about hip width distance apart for ragdoll. I like to make soft fists and place them into the crooks of the elbows. And then really let your head hang here. So you were using the strength of the neck muscles before in locust pose. Now it's time to give them a break. Feel free to bend the knees here. And as you bend the knees, maybe you can feel a little more length through the low back. You could also sway a little side to side. Whatever feels really nurturing here in this ragdoll. Forward folds help us turn inward, re-energize. And then to prepare for rolling up, just release your hands and bend your knees quite a lot. Tuck your tailbone heavy and start to curl up slowly. Take your time. Now, if you're like me and you have a tendency to get dizzy as you come up, keep your knees quite bent. Gaze down at the floor. Let the head come up super slow. No one fainting on me, please. Good. Inhale, the arms sweep high. With the exhalation, press palms together, draw them down. The edges of the thumbs will graze through the third eye, and then down to the heart center. Take a moment to close your eyes. Connect with that intention you set for yourself. And then let's bring the arms up overhead, but this time grab onto your elbows for a side bend. I'm going to turn a little bit so hopefully you can see me. My feet are hip width distance apart. And then I'm going to press firmly through both feet as I take the hips to the left and reach to the right. Now bringing the head back a little bit. Square the hips and square the shoulders to face forward. Notice if your feet are kind of lifting up at all. Press them further down into the ground, and with that rooting down action, get a little bit longer and taller through the spine. Good, come up slowly, and we'll take it to the other side. My hips are going to the right. I'm reaching the upper body to the left. Now squaring hips and shoulders to get even more stretch through the right side body. Round down through the feet. Come up slowly, release the arms. This would be a good time for a nice shoulder roll. Take those shoulders up, back and down, up, back and down. My upper traps lately have been getting really tense, so I've been doing some of these poses a little bit different. Let's try a different variation for Utkatasana, chair pose. So feet hip width distance apart or together, your choice. Then bring the arms out in front of you instead of straight up. So I call these zombie arms. They're parallel with the ground. From here, let's plug the arms back into their sockets. So hopefully you can see this. Arms are shortening back into their sockets. The shoulder blades firm against the back ribs. From there, go ahead and bend your knees into a chair, Utkatasana. Bring the weight back into the heels so that the knees don't go past the toes. You can just even check, take a look, make sure you can see your toes. And then really draw your hips back. Create a little curve through the lumbar spine and support that by pulling your belly up and in. Uddiyana Bandha, for those of you familiar with the bandhas. Good, now the shoulders come back. If you'd like, you could raise your arms up overhead, keeping those shoulders plugged down into the socket. All right, release, let it go. Stand still, maybe grab a drink of water. Let's try that again. Utkatasana, feet together or wide, arms forward, plug the arms into their sockets and bend down at the knees. So I'm not leaning forward or back with the upper body, just simply bending the knees. Then I'll take a vertical twist. Left arm stays forward, right arm opens back, gazing over the right hand. Sink down a little bit further through those legs. Then right arm forward, left arm back. Can you sink your hips down one more inch? Right arm forward. Both arms forward. Forward fold, let it go. Release your head and neck. This might be a nice time to flutter the lips. And then from here, go ahead and step your right leg back into lunge. So we'll be doing quite a few lunges today. This is our first one, so just go ahead and move through that lunge a little bit, exploring the state of your hips. Good. And then take your right hand quite wide. We did this last week. Spin your thumb to face forward and then reach the left arm up for another twist. Again, those shoulder blades slide down the back. It's almost like you're plugging the arm bones back into their sockets again. And then you can get a little bit of locust pose here, that back bend, by pressing the chest up and out. From here, we'll also create a thigh stretch. So release the right leg, the right knee comes back and down. And then, bending at the knee, reach back to clasp the pinky side of the foot if you can. Pinky side of the foot will help you keep that shoulder open. If you've got the foot, encourage the heel towards the hip. Ooh, quad stretch. I went on a big hike this weekend. If you don't have the foot, don't worry about it. Maybe you're just pretending that you're almost there. You're almost there. You can reach it next time. Release. Let it go. Place both hands to the ground and step your right foot forward to meet the left. Step left leg back. First lunge on this side. Take some time just exploring those hips. And then really solidify the lunge by compacting the right hip in, rolling the left inner thigh up, and then we'll take the left hand off to the side and stretch long through the right. Open your wingspan, and at the same time, plug your arms into their sockets, feeling the shoulder blades firm against the back. From the shoulder blades, lift up through the heart, little baby back bend right here. Good, then we take the left knee, not just down, but also back and down. Bend the knee, reach back, clasp the pinky side of the foot. Continue your twist, continue your back bend right here, and then start to pull your heel towards your hip. Nice big breath into the front of the leg. Awesome. Let it go. All right. This time, go ahead and press into downward facing dog. And take a few grounding breaths right here. Enjoy the neutrality of the spine after those twists. Maybe you can feel a little bit more length through the backs of the legs. Good. From here, step your inside edges of your feet together. So the feet are side by side, just for balance, because from here we're going to lift the right leg up to the sky. Go ahead and roll out your ankle here. Sometimes that can feel nice. Breathing into the back of the left leg. And then go ahead and bend your right knee and open your knee towards the sky like a dog on a fire hydrant, that beautiful stretch. Guide your left hip back and make sure both hands are equally pressing into the earth. Then step your right foot forward into high lunge. So anchor down through both feet, come up through the torso. Now instead of bringing the arms up, we're going to bring them out. Palms up, slight bend through the elbows, lean back a little bit. You can stay right here, or if you'd like to join me, you can just pulse down through that back knee, as if it's almost about to tap down to the earth. And we're here for 3, little baby back bend, 2, strong legs, 1, hands come down, downward facing dog. Feet together. With the inhalation, lift your left leg up to the sky. Roll out the ankle, one direction and then the other. Then bend the knee. Shine that knee up to the sky and drag your right hip crease back. Press evenly through both arms, square the shoulders. With the next breath, step your foot forward. High lunge. So the feet are grounding, in the inner thighs are squeezing, then the upper body can come up and open. Again, stay right here or join me. Little baby top of the knee. Let the movement be as smooth and controlled as possible. If you're shaken, no big deal. Just trying for that grace and equanimity as much as possible. Good job. One more. Downward dog. Oh, yeah. Big breath in. Full breath out. One more breath in. And this time with the exhalation, let's just drop to child's. Take a little break. Forehead to the earth. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, I don't want to stay here too long right now, although it feels good. So go ahead and come to standing. Take your time. Again, if you're dizzy like me, I'm a little dehydrated today. Just for fun, let's practice some balancing poses. So hopefully you can see my feet. I'm going to bring my feet about hip-width distance apart. I'm going to bring the arms up parallel to the ground again. Plug the shoulders into the socket. Pull the belly in and firm the legs. From there, lift up your heels and press the tops of your feet forward. So here we are balancing on the balls of the feet. You can stay right here. If you'd like to add a challenge, bend your knees and join me in chair pose. Heels stay lifted wherever you are, tops of the feet pointing forward. Really good medicine for the feet. If you're in chair, press through the balls of the feet and slowly come up, heels staying lifted. Everyone slowly with control, heels come down, palms to prayer. Make sure you're breathing. Let's try that again. Arms up, shoulders plug. Press through the balls of the feet and lift the heels. Woo! The more you can root down through the balls of the feet, the higher the heels can go, the more the calves turn on. Then everyone go ahead and just see what happens. Bend the knees, come down. We're gonna come down so much past chair pose. Heels stay lifted, lifted, lifted until your butt comes towards your heels. And then you made your hands, we're going to come down and roll onto the bottom. That wasn't so graceful. Here we are in chair boat pose. So it's like the chair fell over, essentially, except hopefully it didn't fall over. But here we are, balancing on the sit bones, ischial tuberosities. Pull your shoulders into the sockets, bend the knees or straighten the legs. What's really important here is that the lower belly is working rather than the hip flexors. So pull your lower belly towards your spine and then lift up through the heart like it's smiling. We're here for 3, 2, 1. Cross the legs, roll right over them. Plank pose. Step back. From here, we'll come into a side plank. So the left hand can come right underneath your face and about 2 inches forward. So in the middle of the mat, 2 inches forward, roll over onto that left hand. Roll over onto the outside edge of the left foot, or you can bring the left knee to the ground like me. Then the right arm stretches up. Whether you've got the knee on the ground or the outside edge of the left foot on the ground, what happens if you try to float the right leg up? Woo, engaging that booty. Good. Roll back into plank pose. I told you we were gonna pick it up a little bit. Yep. Right hand comes in front of your face towards the middle of the mat. Roll over, outside edge of right foot or the right knee. Stretch your left arm, really expand through the wingspan, and then see if you can lift the left leg up, just for fun. Good job, release. Downward facing dog. From Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog, let's come into child's pose just for a moment. Drop the knees, drop the forehead. And then I'd like to practice one more strength building active pose with you guys. This is Dolphin. So if you have a block, you could grab it, then make an L with your first finger and thumb and place it to the corners of the block. If you don't have a block, no big deal. You just interlace your hands. What's more important is that the elbows are about shoulder distance apart. Then for Dolphin Pose, you're going to press into the forearms, tuck your toes, and lift your hips just like you would in Downward Dog. Now the strength of Dolphin comes from really pushing the forearms and the elbows into the ground to feel your back lift up off the earth. If you've got a long head long neck like mine, your head might touch down, but it probably won't. So continue to push into the forearms and roll the shoulder blades up the back. It's very difficult to teach while upside down, but these inversions are so good for us. So just enjoy that blood rushing down into your brain. If you'd like to get fancy, you could lift one leg and then the other, or if you're familiar with the full pose and you're not going to crash, now's your time. Everyone, keep pushing the forearms into the ground. Feel the space between the shoulder blades turn on. We're here for 3 and 2 and 1. Time to slow it way down. Come into child's pose. Let's actually come into embryo. Knees together, forehead on the earth. Now the arms can come back behind with the palms up and shoulders really heavy. So that was a bit of work there. Slow down your breath. Reconnect with your why, your intention. Thank your body for doing all these weird things. about 5 more breaths. Okay, hands come forward to help you come up to all fours. So back to all fours. Now for the next pose, go ahead and lift up your right leg and then cross your right knee behind your left knee. So you're nestling them together. Now as much as you can, keep the knees together but widen the feet. Yeah. Some of you might know where we're going. Go Mukasana Pose. Now this is where it could be nice to have a blanket underneath your booty. I'm going to try to stick one down there. Good. Try not to sit on the left foot. Sorry, that's the right foot on the left side. Try not to sit on either feet. Scooch those knees together as much as you can. The more you can elevate the hips, the easier it is on the hip flexors. But if you don't need an elevation underneath your butt, go ahead and just sit flush to the ground. Now notice if your jaw is trying to protest. Empty the jaw, wiggle it out a little bit. Now the left knee is on top, so we're going to bring the right arm up. Pat yourself on the back with the right hand. Take the left hand to the right elbow. Press your right elbow into your left hand and your left hand down into your right elbow. Hopefully you feel a shoulder and tricep stretch. Draw your head back, knit your ribs in, and then once again soften through the hips. Let them get really heavy. Let's call that good. Take the hands, release the arms. Bring the hands down to the ground so that you can unwind the legs nice and slow. Oh yeah. And then bring left knee behind the right. Left knee behind the right. Widen the feet just here so that you don't sit on them. And then crawl your hips and butt back and down, either to the floor or to your little lift. Now you might notice that one side feels a lot different than the other. That's what's happening for me right now. Just notice without judging. Soften your hip flexors as much as you can. That's the frontal hips. Let your knees get heavy. Lengthen your spine, and this time we'll take the left arm up. Bend at the elbow, pat yourself on the back. Press your right hand into your left elbow into right hand. And then notice if you're rounding forward through the head and neck, bring the head up and back. Notice if you're jutting out the rib cage. If so, knit it back towards the spine. Then once again, soften jaw. Soften hips. Good work, everyone. Release. Let's flush out those legs now. You can just simply unwind them from here. And for our next pose, you may want to stay sitting up on the edge of your blanket. We're going to come into Utkatasana. In Yin Yoga, we call this Dragonfly Pose. So stretch the legs out. It doesn't matter how far they go. See if you can straighten the knees without pain. Flex the feet. Take those knees straight up. So some people, they tend to roll back. Mine roll in. Let's try to keep them straight up. And then just like we did in our other forward fold, really keep your hips rooted back and down as you start to inch the upper body forward. It's okay to round the spine here a little bit. We're going to come into more of a yin-like pose with the upper body while we keep the lower body, the legs, very active. So press through the balls of the feet. Pull your toes, your baby toe especially, back towards your knee. Pull your kneecaps up into the thighs. Keep them straight up and down. And then you're really just hinging at the hips to allow the upper body to soften forward. Three more breaths. Long and slow, in and out through the nose. And then press up through the upper body. Use your hands for support. Let's take a moment to bring the hands back and just lift up through the heart, a little counter pose. Okay, I believe the rest of our class will be on the ground. I'm ready. How about you? Let's roll off that blanket. You might need it again later. I'm going to take another sip of water. Have your block handy. And then go ahead and just roll on down, nice and slow. Keep your feet grounded and knees bent. Lift up your hips and slide your block underneath your sacrum. So it's not really on your butt and not really on your low back, but kind of in between. Supported bridge pose, and we'll take this into a supported Upanasana wind relieving pose. So extend your left leg long and hook the heel to the ground. Pull your right knee up, interlace hands underneath the right kneecap, and with the strength of the arms, guide that knee towards your right armpit. Still reaching nice and active through the left leg, feel the stretch through the left frontal hip flexor and the compression through the right frontal hip flexor. You may even feel a little belly gurgling here, so good for digestion. One more big breath. With your exhalation, let it go and switch sides. Right leg long and active. Press that heel into the ground if you can. Interlace the fingers and pull your left knee down and wide. As you breathe, the belly balloons up onto that left thigh. I definitely hear some gurgles in my belly. So good. And with your next exhalation, release. Bend both knees, place the feet on the ground for supported bridge again. At this point, if you'd like to take a little higher notch through the block, you're welcome. Maybe soften the shoulders underneath you to broaden the chest, turn palms up. Feel your belly rise and fall with the breath. And then we'll take one last twist. So press through the feet, lift your hips, slide the block out. Slowly roll your spine back down. Now you get to choose. You could take a twist with one knee up and one leg straight like this. You could take two knees over to the side. You could do it like an eagle leg wrap. I'm going to just take my two knees together over to the right to begin. I'll take my right hand to the belly to feel the breath. Roll the ribcage and shoulder blades to the earth and gaze over the left shoulder. Let go now. Let go of tension in your fingers and toes, jaws and belly. And then we'll slowly unwind. Those knees come back up to center. We'll keep the same variation as you take your legs over to the other side. Sometimes when I'm in my twist, I like to imagine that I have one of those weighted blankets pulled up from my toes to my shoulders. And it just helps me soften into the earth. There's no need for any tension in the body. Okay, slowly unwind. I want to make sure that you bring your pelvis back to the midline, back to neutral. Before opening up for Shavasana, extend your legs. Bring your arms by your sides, palms up. Close down your eyes. You can just forget the long, smooth breath now and let your breath be light and effortless. If it doesn't feel appropriate or restful to be in Shavasana at this point, you could always come up to a seated meditation. We'll be here together for a couple minutes. This is really the most important part of the practice, so please stay with us. Just notice if you're tempted to get up and rush off. Discipline yourself to stay, rest, receive in stillness. Oh my goodness. That has happened one other time in Shavasana. I'm so sorry. Pippa, come here. So hopefully you can stay rested a little bit. We're going to calm the nervous system of the dog right now. I apologize. This is one of the beauties of working and teaching from home. If you'd like some undisturbed yoga classes, no dogs involved, please check out my 70 or so classes on Yoga Download. Again, there's a code you can use. Elise app will get you a 50% off your first month. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is that I am also a health and a life coach, and I work with everybody all over the world on the phone. So if I can help you in that way, please let me know. You can always find me on Facebook or Instagram, Elise Fabricant. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you all next week. Bye. Pippa says bye and sorry. Shush, 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 shush. Bye, everybody. See you next week.